Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. You know who's with me.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Indeed, my boy Eric. Two videos. Woo! The last two videos you'll probably ever
A
hear, but
miracle.
we got two. So, a while back, I decided to do um, a series a non-spoiler review of the first modules of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So from the year of 1978. So I'm going to put this in a playlist and put it together. You have In Search of the Unknown, Aesthetic of the Hill Giants, the G series, D1, Descent into the Depths of the Earth, Shrine of Kuatoa, Vault of the Drow, and we are now here at the Tomb of Horrors.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, um, what do you remember about this adventure?
I not a whole lot. I know it's very it's meant to kill players.
Yes. Do you
I
know?
don't know if I've run it, if I've played in it before, and if I did, I don't remember it
Do
because it
you
was that long
remember?
ago.
You remember why it was created?
Yeah, it was not Black was it Blackwood's test to for Gary Gygax to see if he could write modules for D&D if I remember correctly.
That might be, but it was he wanted to. He had some really high level adventurers,
Uh
and he just wanted to challenge them. And so this was,
yeah, this was Big
God,
B and Mordenkainen and all the actual people who ran those characters and this was for them.
I don't know if it was for that group or those
Yeah, it
exact
was
characters, but
because I but
there's this channel that you'll probably enjoy watching. It's called Daddy Roller One. That's where I get all my old school knowledge from, besides Eric.
mm,
And this guy does a really deep dive, so definitely check this guy out. Um, he was talking about that even though this got released in as a module in 1978,
uh-huh.
either 77 or 76, it was played in a Gen Con.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
so
kind of a tradition now that they still do that.
the premise of this adventure is this is the first time the player characters here of who later on become a famous lich called a
Azrak.
Sirak. And a
Yep.
Sirak is a what's the word I'm looking for? Disciple of Vecna.
Yep.
And so at one point, um, a Sirak becomes a Demi-Lich, which is the first appearance of a Demi-Lich in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, as far as the module goes, and then it makes its appearance again in the Fiendifolio.
Mhm.
So, um, Asirak creates this dungeon to gather up souls. Um, at one point, you're going to find out in the lore that he doesn't really want to become a god. And later on, he actually reforms. He's no longer a Demi-Lich. Because I was like, whoa, okay, that explains a lot. Because in different things, cause especially like the Curse of the Tomb of Annihilation and 5e, and there's other things. Um, this gave players a chance to really figure stuff out. This was not a hack and slash, and in fact,
No, you really had to use it takes a certain kind of party.
yeah, um, I played through it as a kid 3 times as a player, and I died I died 2 times, and I I felt like the DM was being a little generous and actually let us survive and claim victory on that one. But
Mhm.
I actually have the module. So okay, there's a warning they put in here. All right. As clever notes for the dungeon master. As clever players will gather from reading of the legends of the tomb, this dungeon has more tricks and traps and monsters to fight. This is a thinking person's module, and as your group is hack and slaying gathering, they will be unhappy. In the later
Yeah.
case, it's better to skip the whole thing than come out and tell them that there's only a few monsters. If it is this writer's belief that brainwork is good for all players, that they will certainly benefit from playing this module, for individual levels of skill will be improved by reasoning experience. If you regularly pose problems to be solved by brains and not bronze, your players will find this module immediately to their liking. So they find out about the tomb. The tomb is rumored to have great treasure, which it does, and um, this is where this adventure pretty much is why people um, use 10-foot poles.
Right.
So, how to introduce this to your campaign? Um, I would not have this be the end of a campaign. I don't consider it one of those type of adventures. I think it's a good um, 15th to 18th level before you actually have some world-ending event or they do go on a quest to the nine hells or whatever you want them to do, just to um, break up the monotony of your current adventures that you're playing. You're doing this, you've done that. This type of venture, which was so cool, is because it was so deadly, and it was a badge of honor to one to have played it back in the days, and two to have
Yeah.
survived. But in my opinion, the best experience were telling how you died and how your party died in this adventure. It was just one of those things where um, people really enjoyed it. Now, there are some people who didn't, and in one of I read an article about Gary Gygax was saying that there's a couple of players that were talking about my character can't die and blah blah blah. So he busted out this adventure and ran it for them, and
Yeah.
they died, and they left the table, and they were like cursing under their breath, and he's like, you know, I could have asked them for their player characters and the address of their DM to write to them and tell them about their character's demise. I go, you know how cool that would have been? I would have kept that letter.
Right.
I'd have been like, "Gary Gaga sent me a letter." Oh yeah, your character's dead. His soul gets permanently sucked out by the demi-lich. Um, Again, maybe the well can heal you. There are some
Yeah, the well
circumstances.
wouldn't come out for another 12, 13 years.
Yeah, um, it's a good adventure that they kind of also that they stumble upon. That's the best way. That they don't
Yeah.
even know that this is the Tomb of Horrors. That they might have heard of a Serac, but maybe you put them on an adventure that leads them into the jungle, and they think what the location that they're looking for, but it's actually this.
Yep.
And
But who says it has to even be in a jungle?
yep, and so um, there's no monsters chasing them if they choose to run and leave. It's just one of those places like, oh, after they retreat, like
Oh,
they
you
go
weren't
back
good
and they're like,
enough.
we found this place. They're like, you found the Tomb of Horrors? They're like, what? They're
Eh,
like, oh, that's what that is. So
Yeah, we're
then
not
they can
going back in
prep, and if they feel like they want a second round, go back in,
there.
um,
Hmm.
as opposed to letting them know that they're going to run this adventure, and um, they can really prep for these, especially like 5e, where even though they've taken away that feat where you can detect traps, if you were to choose to run this type of adventure like that, I would make the difficulty level starting off at like the low level traps, your basic traps at like 18, and move it all the way up to 30. on some of those traps unless they do a specific thing to find it, you know?
And then I would make you fight 8 fire giants.
You know, come on now. These people were 18th level. They mowed through the fire giants. In fact, they were all laughing about it. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, that's it? Oh, the red dragon's got some fire giant guarding it. It's some hellhounds. I had like 6 hellhounds. They like one-shotted all the hellhounds.
Mm-hmm. Like
You know,
glass eye. Like glass eye.
all right. So, keep the traps brutal. If you were so, they do have Tomb of Annihilation for fifth edition, and the traps there are is not as brutal. If you choose to run this as is from the Yawning Portal, then there are some traps that say no save. In the spirit of the adventure, it's no save. Otherwise, what's the point of this adventure? The whole adventure is supposed to be brutal. The characters are supposed to die. You know, um, it's one of those type of adventures where it's kind of like the what's the Star Trek, the Kobayashi, whatever.
Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios where you just barely are lucky to get out or find a way to defeat the Demi Lich. Um,
Or if you're Kirk, you just cheat.
yeah, no, it's a cool adventure, but I would never run it for any of the current 5e players. Um, Maybe Greg and Lewis. Maybe I'd run it for you guys if you and Thurman join back up.
Yeah.
I would let you just generate pre-generated characters and stuff.
Right? No, nothing with any emotional detachment to it.
Yeah, it's a great module for that. Where you're like, hey, you guys want to play the deadliest adventure ever? You're like, yeah. And then you're like, here, pick your pre-generated character. Why? Because this is for keeps. That's why.
Right? One all nighter one shot.
Yeah, or you make a day a barbecue of it type of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, the wrap up. So, oh man,
Ooh, look at all
I forgot to.
those.
I was supposed to have the B1 adventure in there, but it didn't make it.
Unacceptable,
Womp
Joaquin.
womp. All right, so the wrap up. So these are the adventures of the 1978. You got Against the Giants, Descent, Vault, Tomb of Horrors, and In Search of the Unknown. These adventurers built the foundation of what Advanced Dungeons and Dragons could be. In Search of the Unknown, your typical dungeon crawl, going into a dungeon and finding treasure. They next introduced you into the first super campaign. You go against the giants and you find out that the drow are involved.
Dun,
Here's the
dun,
great
dun.
thing about any of these adventures. Have you ever just ran the G series but just kept it solo?
No.
I have.
I was more of a player. I was more of a player back in the day. It wasn't until 5e I actually started DMing.
Hmm. You ever played where they didn't run it through the series?
Mm, not against the Giants, no. We might have. You're talking about over 40 years ago, man.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to remember that stuff. So that's what's cool about these modules because they're supposed to be a standalone that can link together. And then you
hmm
had Descent into the Depths of the Earth, and that opened up the Underdark, or what did they call it
Yeah,
before? They called it the Under. They had
I
another
believe.
name for it.
Oh, yeah.
Leave a comment
Not
below
Under
just
Earth.
for kicks. So they had another comment for it, and that didn't stick, but the Underdark did, which is cool. And so, what these adventurers taught you was there is another world underneath the world that you're living
Yeah.
in, and that um, when you get to the shrine of the Kuatoa, you are not supposed to be going in there trying to kill a whole city. And any DM that allows that is like, really?
Might as well give him a Kyrin the ride.
Yeah. You might as well give them all magic Chirons that shoot
Right.
disintegration rays out of their mouths
Chart.
with no saving throws, and they
Right. No
automatically
save.
hit.
No save.
No saves. Um, the Vault of the Drow, the Shrine of the Kutua, got you ready for. We need to sneak around because once you got into the vault and you go and you get involved into the Civil War, which is the reason why the giants are attacking, and you learn about El Cladra and her plan, and you learn that Loth is the if you're a non-elf player, but if you're an elf player, the moment you discover that the Drow are there, you know what's going on or have a sense of what's going down.
Going
Um,
down.
so each one of these adventurers taught a DM like, okay, this is how I can build a campaign. This is how I can make a nice, cool dungeon. This is how I can do one shots. This is how I can build my campaign in the Underdark. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to make a brutal adventure to kill off all my players. And you can quote me
No,
on
it's
that. In
not
fact,
okay.
I want to make that into a T-shirt.
That's some bullshit.
So, of all these adventures, which ones did you play through?
I remember Vault of the Drow,
Okay.
Descent into the Earth, and vaguely Tomb of Horrors. We might have done Against the Giants, but see, our DM back in the day just liked to take modules and just twist them all up. So it
Yeah.
wasn't actually like, it wasn't actually Against the Giants, but it'd be giant based kind of thing.
Yeah.
They did our DM was a bunch of homebrew. We didn't do a bunch of modules. The
Yeah.
most
No, I'm trying.
memorable module, of course, being Temple of Elemental Evil, but
Yeah. Yeah. One day I'll DM that for you.
that'd be amazing. I don't even remember.
All right, people. So, Eric has been very generous with his time. I
Eh,
appreciate that.
yeah, I've been trying. It just works so crazy now, dude. Everything changes at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
Got so much stuff going on. It's crazy pants.
So, like I said, the last time Eric did this video with me was over a year ago, and
Yeah, I'll try not to wait so long next time.
yeah,
Eh,
you bastards. Actually, there is a couple of videos I do want to do with you. One of them's a short little video in Dragon Magazine, the Best of Dragon Magazine. It's called The Bounty Hunter.
uh-huh.
You know why?
Okay.
That's
Why? Because of
favorite.
that stupid.
And there's another
Yeah.
topic about the game D&D itself. These are all short. Um,
Oh,
these are all going to be short videos from this point on with Eric for a while until we can get something figured out or
yeah.
he
Get
has the
something more
time.
regular, and get back into the player's handbook. And
Yeah,
I think we were on cleric spells or something last time, if I remember correctly.
yeah, we were stuck. We That's where we left off. So on average, these type of videos are going to be 20 to 25 minutes. That way, I could try to get at least two, maybe three videos, and then Eric can go off and do Eric things in life.
Eric things in life.
So, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment below. What were your experiences in any of these modules, and have you had a chance to play them in the Yawning Portal, or your DM just went out and bought these and converted these to 5e? Any other closing comments? Comments, Eric?
No, no, I'm looking forward to doing some of the. Like I said, I really like Vault of the Draw and all that, Drow and all that. So looking forward to doing those.
We did those. That's how long it's been.
Oh my goodness, no, I disbelieve.
The
Feel my
next
saving go.
non-spoiler review is going to be Keep on the Borderland, White Plume Mountain, and the Village of Hamlet.
Oh yeah.
So that was the year 1979, which is really a
Yep,
small year for a drop-off. All right, with that,
because they were
people,
doing the monster manual and everything.
exactly. I appreciate your time, especially if you watch the Treasures of Greyhawk. And I don't know if you're like building a house or something. Put the video on.
Building a
Help.
house. Building a house, listen to it while
Or
you're watching a movie.
yeah, or if you're painting some D&D or miniatures, this is a nice video to have in the background. Not this one.
Yeah, some background.
This is the video you watch while you're listening to while you're going to work. But the
Yeah.
Treasures of Greyhawk. Check that out and find out why Joaquin was an asshole. All right.
Take
With that, people, I'll catch you later.
it easy, guys.